this chit chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Reynolds got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
Alrighty then.
Well, the schedule is out. Where do you stand on it? We're going to talk about it. We'll break it down. Jerry Reynolds says everybody plays 41 on the road and 41 at home. Kings schedule at the beginning, tough, really tough. 8 of their first 11 games are going to be against playoff teams from last year. Also, they play the Thunder 3 times before. I think the last meeting is on 11/21 or 11/23. That's the third one, and they're in the same group in the NBA Cup. So we will get down into the weeds with that. Happy to discuss it with you. If you want to call the show and talk about it, please do. Hit the QR or scan the QR code that is on the screen. You can also hit the links that are pinned to the top of the chat. I will continue posting the link throughout the show. Feeling pretty refreshed, rocking Peter Anderson's favorite t-shirt of mine today. 24 hours off from the King's Court. Was at Fox Studios yesterday. Fox Sports Sacramento, KSAC. Make sure that you go and download the app for Fox Sports Sacramento. KSAC right there. All you got to do, App Store, download. Google Play, download. You're like, why are you sending me to Fox Sports Sacramento? Telling me to download an app. What's up, Rhino? Are they a sponsor? No. Grant is back in Sacktown. September 2nd is when the Grant Napier show, I'm not going to say it debuts, not re-debuts. This is a new version of Grant. Same show, same hard hitting, same phone call taking, same rant having, with a little bit of fun mixed in. So make sure you go show Fox Sports Sacktown some love again. Download the KSAC app that is available in the App Store on Apple. I have posted that online. I retweeted the station with the Apple link. It's available in the Google Play Store if you're one of those weirdos that's a Android user, not to mention any names. Haunted horse. So anyways, getting back to it, we're gonna digest the schedule. If you've been paying attention to my X feed, as soon as it released, I took a dive into it. Now it's way too early to be like, oh, who has the toughest strength of schedule, etc., etc. But I've kind of laid it out in a way that I think is a little bit easier to understand. Shows you the road trip, shows you the biggest chunk of time that the Kings will be spending at home, etc. So we can get into all of that. We will dig into all of that actually today. Here's your little, you can go get this from the Kings if you want. I don't know how you're going to put it on your refrigerator because it's not going to be a magnet. But notably, this is going to be your big kind of dates for the NBA this year. They put this out. By the way, whoever took the under, in fact, let me see what the vote came out to. I believe it was like 93% that said the Kings would have under 4.5 national TV games. It's over. It is actually over, believe it or not. And that's not including NBA TV. Let's see what the poll was. I want to get the exact numbers because a lot of people voted on that one. We were at 93% no. The Kings would not have over 4.5 national TV games. So there you go. We'll get into that as we get further into the schedule. There's your MPA Cup groups. Those have been out for a minute. OKC, Minnesota, Kings, Phoenix, Kings, Jazz seems manageable. Who knows? The Kings sometimes they almost made it to Vegas for the NBA Cup. So think about that. Did they make it to Vegas? I think they did. Now I was on vacation. That was the 1 week I took vacation. We went to Legoland down in San Diego. So forgive me. There's been a lot of basketball since then. Also, if you didn't see this, I retweeted my man Law Murray from The Athletic. Does a great job covering the Clippers. Many of the power rankings that you read, if you subscribe to The Athletic, are done by Law. He put a tweet out yesterday that he was watching some of the guys, younger guys, play down there at UCLA, getting some open run in. And he said, I don't think those dudes lost a single game for an hour straight of run. So encouraging. It's not negative. I'll go with the positive. I mean, Jim, everybody has 82 games, right?
Oh, righty then.
Is there a chance?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
Now, usually I do not break confidentiality. I don't. We kind of have a running thing with our group of friends. If you're in that group, you know, like if it's a DM, we don't share those publicly, or we don't share them with others in the group. If you're part of the Marco Polo Wisco fam, you know what happens on Marco Polo stays on Marco Polo. Unfortunately, though, for you, Dennis, those rules do not apply because you don't play by normal rules. So Dennis, you thought you beat me to this. You thought that I had not seen this. Like, I don't know Law Murray. You didn't think that was going to catch my eye? Here's what I got last night from Dennis in the DMs. It's like a running note log, I think, for Dennis. It's where he keeps his notes about the Kings, and he wants to make sure that I see them. Earth, Wind, and Fire, what? For Grant, Shining Star, what? And then 9:22 p.m. last night, Dennis sends me the La Marie tweet. Dennis, man, I'm a little bit more on it than that, but you know what? I forgive you, dude. Dennis was so excited too. He's like, oh, I know I beat Rhino to this one.
Kabara Goya.
Kabara Goya. I knew it. I knew it. I totally knew it.
I know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
All right. We also have more Jera to get to. Jera announced that he has been battling cancer for the last 10 years, and now he is in remission. And in that little speech, he disclosed that him and I have something in common. Like, I thought there was nothing in common between me and Jerry Jones. Nothing. Dude's a billionaire. I love doing my shows, being with all you. Can't wait to go to Fox to be Grant's producer. I'm not a narcissist. I would pay my players probably, especially if they're the best defensive player in the NFL. But we have something in common. But back to the cancer thing. Let me drop that for you really quick. I'm not going to hit you over the head with it. We'll give you what he said about Micah Parsons as well. But look, melanoma, my mom battled melanoma. They caught it early. They were able to take care of it. They were able to get it out. But melanoma is different strains of it. Not a doctor, but it kills. It can, um, depending on what it was. But for Jerry to kind of drop it when he did, I just don't know how I feel about it. Was that just? I don't know. It was really random. This was Jerry yesterday.
Who have you liked in camp so far? Who have you liked in camp so far? Well, I've been real pleased with Thomas, and he's gotten some real opportunity here. And we certainly need that showing up on his part. I like several of the young guys. I just overall like the tempo with the camp. Give Brian Schottenheimer his due there to have that. And I'm looking forward to Saturday night. They're back in Dallas, and so. But I like what we've seen so far, and on balance, I don't even want to mention it, but we've come out here in pretty good shape with our injury, which is always a focal point.
Be it discipline or physicality, what stood out to you most in the first, Schottenheimer training camp?
Well, I like the physicality, the enthusiasm. Probably the last play we just saw, that number 54 taking that thing to the house and outrunning everybody, probably is a great way to have ended this practice and certainly of his camp. Sam is not fragile in terms of mental, but as Michael Irvin said, when he had an injury that flashed before him the prospects of not playing again, Michael said it made his career to appreciate what he might miss. I think Sam has had that same realization. And so he's come back. He's had an outstanding training camp. And I would think somebody might have set that up for him to run the length of the field with that interception. But I think one of the players said might have been back, oh, no, anybody but Sam, because he's showing leadership out here as well.
Is there concerning you, Jerry, as you go leave here and know that Philadelphia is a few weeks away?
Well, the world champ, you couldn't start her off any more challenging.
So the cancer cut was not in there. Supposed to be in there, producer. You know who I'm talking to, producer. How was that not there? Supposed to be cut one. Anyways, he disclosed that he's good, but the medication caused him to have both hips replaced. What? Jerry and I share that in common now? The old man and I share that in common? I'm glad he's healthy. It's just really weird timing. I think the media has been kind of hammering him for it. So it's not going to be a football-heavy show. I just had to put a little bit of Jarrah on the schedule.
I didn't know my schedule.
So we'll talk about that. He also talked about Micah Parsons as well. We can get into that if you want. But again, what we're digging into today is the NBA schedule and the Kings, what it looks like, the positives, the negatives. So if you want to get in now, get in early. Haunted Horse. No, we are not going to be talking about Portland. I have not looked. So there's two ways of doing this. You can look at what's on paper right now for the Kings. As the days kind of roll out from here, that's when you start cross-referencing the opponents to see which ones are going to be on back-to-backs, which ones are going to be rested and waiting for the Kings. Because sometimes you want those games. Like if you want to get, we had Oklahoma City one time that was on the second, or Dallas, that's who it was. Dallas twice last year. That was on the second night of a back-to-back, both times that they played in Dallas. So looking for that kind of stuff. Jerry Reynolds was on Tuesday. You know, it's Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. It might have been our very last Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. And I asked him how he looks at an NBA schedule. So we'll recap that in a second. But first, let's get to the chat, see what everybody is talking about. Ryan, you shared that with everyone over the age of 80. Damn, man. Horse.
Well, well, well. The most diabolical haters this side of the Mississippi.
Yeah, that's on the west side of the Mississippi in Portland. Hating, man. You know, I told my wife, I said, I don't know what's going to happen to me when I go upstairs, but you need to put one of my hips on the mantle. That's what I said. I think that's kind of fair, right? It's titanium. Maybe make a ring out of it, some jewelry. Titanium's expensive, right? Yeah, I'm just hoping, in all seriousness, I'm hoping that I don't have to have them replaced again. That would be not ideal. 25 years. See, Jared's not going to live another 25. Or maybe he will. Apparently, this drug that he had was an experimental drug that worked for his melanoma. But I hope I don't have to replace mine. We'll see. Let's hope. Well, let's hope I run into that problem. Who knows? Now let's get back on track. What's up, Flores? I thought the NBA schedule would come out by now. Kings no nationally televised game. Flores, are you looking at the same schedule? The Kings have over 4.5 nationally televised games, my man. We'll dig into it here in a little bit. Tough early schedule. Yes, it is, Tristan. It is a very tough early schedule for the Kings. Yeah, you missed the start of the show. I acknowledged it, dude. I acknowledged it. And the hater is back. By the time that they need to be replaced, they will probably have bionic legs. Yeah, but what's that look like, man? Does that mean you're taking my whole leg and putting a bionic one on me? I don't know that I necessarily want that either. So, all right, let's dig in to the Kings schedule. I think I've done a pretty good job of showing the basics of it, and we can kick this around. There's things that I still have not learned about the schedule, but I'll show you how I look at a schedule just right off the bat, and we can discuss what's good, what's bad about it for the Kings. They have reduced back-to-backs, although it's not going to look that way. So that is good. They've got a lot of 3 games in 4 nights. So we'll get into that. But they're going to have a good test right out of the gate. 8 of 11 against playoff teams. And I believe 4 of those are on the road. OKC, Chicago, Milwaukee, and Denver. How about that stretch? How about that? So, happy weekend, a day early for John Finch. We know what he's grilling up tonight. Indeed, a little bit of asparagus. All right, so on Tuesday, I asked Jerry Reynolds, how do you look at a schedule when it comes out? Here's what Jerry had to say. He said that every team plays 41 at home and 41 on the road. But when you were in the building, when you were coaching and the schedule came out, how did you read the schedule? What were the first things you were looking for?
Well, I would always, look, the first, say, 5-10 games, usually first 10 games, just to get some idea of how many, because you'd hate to have to play 7 on the road out of your first 10 or something like that, regardless of who you've played. So that was it. Then after that, there's so many games, it all takes care of itself. And I've always said, people and coaches complain about the schedule, but the truth is there's 41 at home, 41 on the road. And you have stretches where you have 7-game road stretches and you have 7-game home schedules. And there's times when you're going to play, 3 good teams in a row and maybe 3 bad teams in a row.
Right.
And sometimes you're going to catch teams when they're injured and you're healthy, and sometimes you're going to be injured and they're healthy. And, that's so it's 80. What I always said, 82 games. The best teams always seem to win the most games, so it'll usually work itself out.
So the cream will rise to the top, basically, Jerry's take. Let's go to the phones again. Get in early, get in often. Would like to hear from you. Portland, by the way. Hey, Horse, you have 8 national televised games. The Kings have 9. How's that taste, buddy? How's that taste, Horse?
We have
Michael
none.
Guerrero, what's up, dude?
Hi. Most importantly, but before that, I want to hear about the. Sorry. Grant Napier. I've been noticed about the September 2 that he will return on the radio. So that was a good news. I'm happy for him. How is this gonna play out with when now that he's gonna be returning to the radio show?
Are you talking about this show? Or are you talking about this channel?
The channel here on YouTube.
So the big change on the channel is going to be you're not going to have the live edition of the King's Court 5 days a week. That's the big change. Other than that, we are going to continue doing post game shows. We're going to continue doing programming on the channel outside of the radio show. The radio show is
Good.
3 to 6
Good to
o'clock.
hear.
Monday through Friday. So
Perfect.
we are going to amp up the level of post game that we give you. I'm going to be credentialed. I've already gotten that verification.
Good.
So
Good.
I
Good to
might be
know.
doing post game.
Congrats to him.
Thank you. I might be doing post game with Grant from the arena. So we're going to have a lot more access, but we're super happy for Grant. Again,
I am so happy for him. He deserved every bit. Is he gonna call out the games like on the radio, or how is this gonna play out?
No,
Now that
no. So it's going to be the Grant Napier show. I will be producing it and contributing
okay.
on air. But if the Kings are playing while we're on the air, because we don't have the rights to the Kings
Perfect.
at KSAC, we're just doing our show. So
Okay. All right. Now that now it's done, I'm gonna talk about the NBA schedule. The Kings actually have 9. You know, it's actually an increase. What are you seeing the increase in the based on the national TV? Is that maybe because of something? I'm not sure. What are you seeing?
I think it's it's because of how good the West is. To be quite honest with you,
due to the better of the West. I think Oklahoma City is going to be a team that everyone's going to look out for. I mean, like I said, I think they are a good team, but I think there will be more challenge for them this year. Being a defending champion is tough.
Yep.
So, what are you seeing for this Kings? I mean, I'm talking about Westbrook edition. That I've been hearing about because the odds are high that he would join the Kings, but would come off the bench. I don't know.
Westbrook's not joining the Kings unless there's a move that happens first.
Okay.
There's no room for another guard on the roster. It would make no sense. Now, if you're able to get
That's
off,
what I was wondering.
Devin Carter, if you're able to get off, I don't like the idea of it. But if the Kings traded Malik Monk, then that opens up that door, in my opinion.
That's what I'm wondering.
For Russell Westbrook,
Devin Carter is how many years is he? I think this is his
second year. But you got to remember, he did not have the rookie offseason that a normal rookie would have because he was injured. Didn't play summer league his rookie year and played his first NBA game. It was right. He was ahead of schedule. It was right after the start. No, it was before the start of the new year. It was right around then. It was when the Kings played the Grizzlies, and I think he had that date circled because his dad was an assistant coach for the Grizzlies.
Well, what are you seeing in Devin Carter? Do you see him gonna exceed the expectations this year? Well, what are you seeing from him?
With the Kings roster right now, I don't see how Devin Carter is going to get on the court. I don't see what his role is going to be. That's why this summer they were so intentional about needing him to be able to play the point guard position. And I think based on what I've heard, what I've read, I don't think Scott Perry was all that impressed with Devin at the point. I mean, yeah, he can shoot the ball a little bit. He can defend, but the Kings need him at that point guard position because this is going to be an offensive team. It's not going to be a defensive team yet.
So, yeah. And I'm just wondering how is when national TV games come out on Prime. We have a couple of games on Prime anyway. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, we're going to go over it, but like I said, the increase is because of how good the West is. Every game that the Kings are on national TV is against a Western Conference team.
We have one actually against the Pacers.
Oh, is there one against the Pacers?
Yeah, I saw it. If you look at it, I think I saw one.
I'll double check. Yep, you're right. Peacock. Pacers.
Yeah,
Yep.
we have Pacers,
Yep. So all but one. All but one.
probably. All
So,
right.
all right, man. Appreciate you, Michael.
Appreciate you.
Yep. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. You too, Ryan.
All right, buddy. Be like Mike. Pick up the phone. We'd love to hear from you if you want to talk about the schedule. Mike was curious about what's going on with the Grand Napier show. Again, if you're just tuning in and you've been on vacation the last week, Grant is coming back to Sacramento, Fox Sports Radio, Sacramento, KSAC 104.7 FM, 890 AM, beginning September 2nd, 3 to 6. As Peter said, weekdays. Make sure that you go, in addition to tuning in, make sure you download the KSAC app. We would really appreciate that. It's available for free in the Apple Store and also in Google Play. So you'll be all up to date with the app. I believe you go check the app out. You will like it. It's a good backup to have. But again, Grant back September 2nd here in Sacramento. I know it's been ruffling a lot of feathers. Bingo. Dennis with a positive contribution. Good job, Dennis. Yes. Grant is back for the win. He is. Paul says, I have to agree. We have to come up with a new mantra when it's appropriate. What's the new mantra? You guys talking about dropping the beam? Kings waive Terrence Davis and sign another player. Terrence Davis, guaranteed, does not kick in near training camp. There's no way. I can't see any world that the Kings can bring him to training camp. I just don't. Remember, his first NBA action last season, at the end of last season, that was his first NBA action since the 2022-2023 playoffs, Game 7. He had not been in the NBA. He was in the G League grinding, but there were players in the G League that had much better stats than Terrence Davis, Mason Jones, at the same position. So take it for what it's worth. All right, we've been teasing and talking about it. Let's get down to it. Let's look at the schedule. I have gone through it. I have kind of picked it apart the way that I like to look at schedules. So here you go. The Kings kick off at Phoenix. Then you've got Utah and the Lakers at home, and you are hitting the road. You've got OKC, Chicago, Milwaukee, Denver. That cannot be an 0-4 road trip. You absolutely need to get that Chicago game. But what you'll notice is in the first 11 games, 8 teams are playoff teams. The red boxes on the schedule are either back-to-backs or games, 3 games in 4 nights. So the back-to-backs are down, but the Kings have a lot more 3 games in 4 nights on this schedule. It's much more than I can't say definitively because I didn't compare it to last season, but you can notice there, if I zoom out, look at all of the red. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times where you're going to have 3 games in 4 nights. So you have then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 back-to-backs. So I don't know what the Kings do early. Here's the other thing. I highlighted right here, Wednesday the 19th at Oklahoma City. That's the 3rd time that you play Oklahoma City. Think about that. You're not even a month into the season and you've played OKC 3 times. And you'll see them again, most likely, in the NBA Cup. So that's not going to be easy. Now, the Kings, we all know they've got this issue at home. They just don't play well at home. They haven't traditionally. And so maybe you look at the road trips and you say, all right, that's not so bad. Maybe they can make some noise. But like, as I look at it, I'm thinking like, where can the Kings get on a run? And I think it's right out of the gate. I think the same thing last year, where we said the Kings have to get out of the gate quick, applies here. You got to beat Phoenix. You got to beat Utah. You've got to beat LA. And then maybe you roll into OKC with some confidence. Maybe you do. Here's the other thing. What if somebody gets hurt early on? This is the good and the bad of playing a team 3 times in a month. If somebody for OKC goes down, then the Kings might be getting a good break. If the Kings are healthy, that's already a very tough game for the Kings. So if somebody went down for them, it makes it all the more tough. But I think right out of the gate, to me, you've got to get off to a quick start, considering what's on this schedule and the pockets that you have to make a run, theoretically. Let's get back to the phones. Kazzy, my man, what's up?
Grant. I'm sorry, Ryan. Why do
Nobody's going to be a moron when they love it.
I thought you were looking for Grant. I'm kidding. Go ahead. What's up, Kaz?
You keep saying they have 9 national TV. They only have 1. They only play on ESPN one time.
NBC, brother.
NBC's national TV?
It's network TV.
So what play-by-play, what analysts do they have for those games? Is that because I know like TNT's gone? That's the new TNT?
Basically, if you want to, they are kind of the new TNT. They took over Turner's rights, the majority of them, and it's split between ESPN still. I don't know the exact breakdown off the top of my head, but they've done a ton of hiring. Kevin Harlan's going to NBC. There's a lot of people. I can't tell you who right off the top of my head, but they've done a ton of hiring.
Okay. If that's so NBC's national TV, I am shocked they have 9 games. I literally thought they would only have like 1 or 2.
So Michael asked me earlier why I think that they have 9 games. I think it's because of how strong the Western Conference is. 8 of their 9 games are against teams in the West. The only team in the East that they play is Indiana on national TV.
Gotcha. I know I gave my prediction last time I called you. How many games do you think they're going to win, approximately? Because, if they're getting on national television 9 times, I think they would probably have some sort of respect, I guess.
Yes, and I think it's this way. They're a wild card. They might be really good, or they might be really bad. And so part of that is why maybe they have 9 games. The network is saying, all right. Well, and remember, 9 games is on the low end. Yeah. You got Sacramento at 9, Utah, who's lower than the Kings? Miami only has 5. That's crazy. Washington 2, Utah 2, Toronto 2. If I would have told you Phoenix 9 as well. What does San Antonio have? Charlotte only has 3. Chicago has 3. So the Kings got. That's exactly where it's coming from. Brooklyn has 2. So they're on national TV because of their opponent. And then that wild card aspect, because you look at the teams they're playing. Denver is the first national TV game. And we're counting, by the way, Michael, because Michael brought up the East, that the Kings are playing one team on national TV in the East. It's actually not true. The Kings are playing all of their national TV games against the West. The East game is against Indiana, but it's on Peacock. So there's a paywall there. You have to subscribe to Peacock to be able to see that. So I'm not going to consider that. That is almost like an NBA TV game. So
for that Peacock game, do we actually have to pay even like to watch it locally, like on our TV, like with NBC Sports?
It's a good question. I don't think so. No, I think it would just be blacked out on Peacock if you tried to watch it there.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Ryan.
Yep. Appreciate you, Kazzy. Good job by Kaz. If you want to call the show, please do. Taking your calls all day long about the schedule. Yeah. Okay. So let's walk that back. I do want to walk that back as we bring this a little bit closer. Sorry if you hear the landscapers in the background. Do you know what's really funny? When people hire landscapers and they barely have any lawn, it's like, just cut that yourself, yo. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Actually, let's go back to the phones. Patrick, what's going on today, buddy?
Hey, Ryan, what's up?
What's up, dude?
Yeah, quick question. Would you consider Amazon Prime like the new NBA TV? Because I know Turner lost the rights to the games, and Turner was the people that were running NBA TV.
Yes, I would consider Prime, and I would consider Peacock, both kind of the NBA TV, because NBA TV was behind a paywall. You either had to subscribe to League Pass if you're doing it online, or you had to have DirecTV, have to have cable, whatever. It's not readily available.
Yeah, that's a little bit bumming because I know NBA TV, even though they're behind a little bit of a paywall, it was much more accessible than it would be for the pay services.
Hey, Patrick, it sounds like there's somebody farting in the background. Can you check all
You know what it is? You know what it is? I pulled over. I'm on the highway, so the cars are passing by, so I won't stay on.
It's the strip to wake you up. That's awesome.
Yes.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I would consider it the new NBA TV.
Yeah. I'll just make an observation quick. The Knicks are playing Sacramento on the 14th of January, and they're also going to be at the Garden on the 27th. And when the Sacramento plays the Knicks, they're going to have 2 road games, one before, one after. So maybe they'll catch a break.
There you go. See, that's the stuff that it's too soon to really know yet. So
exactly. It's second guessing, you know.
Yep, absolutely, Patrick. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for pulling over too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, bud. Later.
All right, bye.
That was a heck of a sound. That audio is wild, right? I love Patrick for calling in, but that audio was freaking wild. Like, I don't know. Like, do I want to keep hearing that, or do I want it to go away?
Give it to me again! Give it to me again!
How about that? Good stuff by Patrick. If you want to be like Patrick, and if you are in a safe place, I mean, the highway is kind of a safe place. Side of the highway, not that safe. But if you want to be like Patrick, call the show. That's hardcore right there. Patrick is now in the Mac category. Can you get yourself into that category? So going back to it. So yeah, all of the Kings national TV games. And I am defining national is as either on NBC or ESPN. They're all in the West. That's why the Kings ended up getting so many. Look at the teams in the East. They're getting none because the East is so weak. Brooklyn 2, Charlotte 3, Chicago 3, Detroit got 16. Hell, what if I told you the Kings have the same amount of games as the Indiana Pacers? They do. They both have 9. So that's exactly what tells me that this is a East thing. The NBA realizes where the power is at. What are my thoughts on the Kings over under at 36.5? It's a great question, Andrew. The West is so much better this year. And the Kings couldn't get to 500 last year. Neek, I think, is going to factor in. Let me simmer on that. Let me simmer on that for a minute, Andrew. Everybody else put your thoughts in. I think most everybody will go under, but 36.5 is just like that. It's why Vegas always gets it right for the most part. For me, it's just right there. Like, okay, you're 5 games under 500. I mean, the West is going to be a bloodbath this year. It really is. I mean, definitively outside of the top teams in the East, the Kings are going to have to kick ass in the East. Number was 34. Okay. 34. Would you go? Yeah, if the number's 34, I'm over. I'm with Paul. I'm over if the number's 34. Yeah. All right, so let's dig back into the schedule here. So, like we talked about Oklahoma City, you play them 3 times in the first month of the season. I'm looking to see where I'm playing Dallas. Where are we playing Dallas? Your first meeting with Dallas is, I believe, on the 6th. So we are right here. It's an NBC game. So I think you're catching Dallas without Kyrie Irving still then. But when do you have the rest of the matchups with Dallas? They're going to be later. You're at Dallas, 226. He should be back by then. We're missing one. It's probably up in here. Maybe I missed it higher. Okay, so maybe you play them once before that. They've got to have more than 2 matchups. So maybe you'll catch them 2 times. There they are. There you got Dallas at home, 12-27. So you're catching Dallas 2 times without Kyrie. That to me is pretty good. Now you still got to deal with Cooper Flagg, obviously. But here's the thing. There is not really a solid pocket of home games for the Kings. A lot of people point to January. You've got Houston, the Lakers, New York, Washington, Portland, Miami, Toronto. That's your first sizable homestand. I should have put that in purple. I did not. Now, the back end of that homestand, you are going back-to-back in ultimately 3 games in 4 nights. That's going to be a tough travel. You're going to have back-to-back games, 120, 121. You've got a day to get to the East Coast, and then you're playing Cleveland. That's a big ask. And now you're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game road trip on the East Coast. And if I pull back the last 2 seasons, the Kings have been sent to the East Coast at the end of the year, and I have not understood it. They did it again this year. Right here for you. You're at Chicago, at Orlando, at Atlanta, at Brooklyn, and then at Toronto. At Charlotte, too. Excuse me. So you've got a 5-game trip. Purple box right here. This is your most significant chunk at home. All but 1 game in March. The Kings' schedule actually in some ways is very similar to last year's. But you go Phoenix, New Orleans, Chicago, Indiana, Charlotte. Those should all be wins. This was the homestand. The Kings, this lines up really well for them. If they can start the season off well, yeah, you play Portland twice in a row. By the way, Haunted Horse, look right here. You got Portland twice in a row there in blue. Kings will be spending an extra day in your city. Maybe I'll come to that. You got an extra bedroom, Horse? But back to this. This homestand is very winnable. Very winnable. Phoenix, New Orleans, Chicago, Indiana, Charlotte. Not knowing what New Orleans is going to look like, I'm still going to say the Kings should win all 5 of those games. Indy without Hallie. And then look at the bottom half, what you come home to. I mean, you're playing outside of the Clippers and the Spurs. You're basically playing non-playoff teams. And I know that I've got Philly in that category. I'm going to keep them there. I don't see Philly doing great things this year. Indiana, I'm putting in that category because you don't have Hallie. I just don't see them doing a ton this year. So this is your winnable stretch. Now, from there, you go on that East Coast road trip. So this is where the Kings, if you're just joining the show, this stretch here in purple, that is the stretch that the Kings absolutely need to clean house. In fact, I would say the Kings did not have a stretch like this last year. They had the same homestand last year, but it was murderer's row. You went back to back with OKC and Boston at home. So this is good. This is really good. And if you get some momentum off of this stretch, then you're going to Charlotte. Beatable. Orlando, tough ask. Atlanta and Brooklyn. And Toronto again. The Kings could really catch some momentum here if they're still in it. You know, maybe they get knocked down and get a 7 count at some time during the first 25 games. But if they can hover around 500 and keep the net rating positive, you have a much better chance this year of being able to make a run. This is way more friendly than what the Kings had last year when it comes to home games. You know, remember your Charlottes would be mixed in as a second night of a back-to-back, or Charlotte would be the first game back coming from an East Coast road trip. You don't even have a back-to-back during that stretch either in purple. How about that? So to me, the Kings have to. We can't keep saying, well, you know, they got to be better at home. They have to be better at home. Who knows at that point, 317 with Wemby and Fox, if they're right. And again, we're not factoring in injuries, and we don't know what the other teams are playing before they play the Kings, which might give the Kings a little bit more of an advantage. But that's your stretch right there. That is your stretch. And again, I go back to the top of the schedule, last year's schedule. We said, all right, I think there's some winnable games for the Kings. And they struggled. They hovered around 500. I think if you can knock off the Lakers being the toughest of the first 3 games, if you can knock off the Lakers, you hit that 4 game, which is going to be a hard road trip. That's a 1-4 road trip. If you gave me 1-4 right now on that road trip, I'd take it. Because of the Kings' inconsistencies, the matchups, I would take 1-4 on that first road trip. 8 of your first 11 are against playoff teams from last year. I mean, we could even go further out from that. You could say 12. Oh, no, it'd be 11 of your first 14. 11 of your first 14, 12 of your first 15 are against playoff teams from last year. So this is where the Kings need to hover around 500. Games like this, Phoenix and Utah, you got to be able to grab those. This really isn't the season, what the Kings have done the last couple of years, where you can play around and lose to teams that you're supposed to beat. Nah, you got to beat them. You got to beat them. So that's how I kind of break down the schedule. I'm able to look at it. Here's your all-star break in green, Utah. At Utah, we'll send you into the break. The Kings will have 8 days off, and then they're home. They get to open up at home from the break against Orlando. Where is the Murderers Row this season? I mean, you have to say that first. Well, I think playing OKC 3 times in the first month, you got to count that as its own little row. But where is the Murderers Row? Everybody chime in too. We're looking at the same thing. I mean, this is not a great stretch. Houston, Detroit, Dallas, Lakers, Clippers, Boston, and Phoenix. The Clippers, Boston, and Phoenix is 3 games in 4 nights. So you're in LA. You get a day off, and then you've got a Boston at home, Phoenix on the road. I don't see. Okay, so there's one. There's always. Well, no, that's not it. You know, you really got to look at the Western Conference games to figure out what you think Murderers Row is going to be. This is going to be a tough stretch right here. Coming out of the All-Star break, Orlando, San Antonio, Memphis, Houston, Dallas, and the Lakers. You play 1 game at home. That's your Murderers Row road trip right there. In addition to the first road trip of the season and playing Oklahoma City 3 times in the first 4 weeks of the season. First 4 weeks of the season. So let me know what you think. We can keep going through the schedule. I'm sure Grant will have his own take on it. Murderers Row is the beginning of the season. I disagree, John. I do. I can't say that, John. I think those are 3 winnable games. Now, when you hit the road, that's a crappy road trip. That's why those first 3 games, you have to beat Phoenix, you have to beat Utah. Period, end of story. Have to beat them. But maybe that gives you some momentum to beat the Lakers. If you beat the Lakers, then you go into that road trip with some momentum. But that's a brutal, you know what? That's where Murderers Row is. You are at Oklahoma City. You are at Chicago. You're at Milwaukee. You're at Denver. You're home against Golden State. You're home against Oklahoma City. Then, did I miss? I marked that wrong. That is not. Oh, yes, it is. It is. Okay. Yeah, that's your stretch. There's your Murderer's Row stretch. 100%. That's it. This is it right here. Oklahoma City, Chicago, Milwaukee, Denver, Golden State, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Denver, Atlanta, Minnesota, Denver, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Denver, Minnesota. There's your Murderer's Row. It's right out of the gate. It's right out of the gate. If you can get through that at 500, you're going to be feeling really good about yourself, especially with this on the back end. For as hard of a stretch from Sunday, the 26th, to November 24th, as hard of a stretch as that is, right here in purple, from 3-3 to 322, you could even throw in 324 because you're at Charlotte. That's just as easy of a stretch. The Kings didn't have that home stretch last year that was easy. So again, they've got to still be good on the road, and they have got to hang in there against some of these teams. And here's the other thing that I would say. I actually don't mind the Kings hitting the road early in the season. I'll tell you why here in a few minutes. Thanks for being here today. By the way, we are talking the NBA schedule release. The Kings end up getting 7 national TV games. National TV, meaning NBC or ESPN. All 7 are against the Western Conference. They have 2 others, one on Prime, one on Peacock. So that makes it 9 overall. 8 of the 9 are against the Western Conference. The sole game against the East is Indiana, at Indiana. So we are talking about that. It's crazy how this breaks down with the national TV games. It's bizarre. We'll keep talking about it here in a second. One thing that is not bizarre, in fact, it's quite the opposite of bizarre. It is amazing, and it is Bennett's, whether you're at the Rockland, Roseville, or Howe and Fair Oaks location, you are going to get a damn good experience, an amazing meal, American cooking, prime cuts of seafood and steak. Cue the redfish horse, one of our favorites on the menu. The steaks, you can't go wrong. And also with Bennett's, my goodness, do you get an awesome meal at a very fair price? Very fair price. They also run specials every single day of the week. There is a special for you. Trust me. Go check out Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Seems like happy hour is for most people. 2 to 6 o'clock, whether it's on the eat side or the drink side or a little bit of both. 2 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday, brunch on the weekends. I'm telling you, fellas, that weekend brunch, the first couple weeks of college and pro football season, that's going to get you some extra time of TV time, football time, because you get a bottle of champagne and 2 entrees for $45.99. Hard to beat that. Just a little bit of what they have to offer, including the new Taste of Summer menu that Brian's rolled out. So go check them out, Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Going to make you hungry for a second. You can make reservations right there. You can also put in your orders to go. Check them out. Huge thanks to Brian, Margot, the team over at Bennett's, and thanks to all you for supporting them and letting them know that you heard about them here on If You Don't Like That. And let us know when you all go in so we can show you some love. Did Oscar ever cash in on Bennett's offer? Love to know. Love to know that. Again, Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. Rockland, Roseville, Howe, and Fair Oaks. Check them out. Check them out. You can't go wrong with that. Let's go back really quick, and then we'll continue talking NBA and the Kings, because I want to tell you why I think that road trip at the beginning of the season is actually a positive for this team. But I want to go back to the Jerry Jones thing. At the top of the show, we discussed Jerry sharing that he was battling cancer at kind of a weird time with all this Micah Parsons stuff going on. He said that he was taking a medication that I believe was experimental and it worked well, but it's been a 10-year battle apparently, and he decided to disclose it now. He was also asked about Micah Parsons in the same press conference, and it really does seem like the Cowboys are walking away from the table. They're saying what's on the table is all you're going to get, and if you're not happy with it, you can sit out, because Micah's under contract this season. He wants to get that extended, as he should, for a star player, one of the best defenders in the NFL. Here's how Jerry answered some of those questions.
Again, I don't at all, but I wouldn't close the door.
As you wait for corners to get healthy, do you guys need to make an addition in the cornerback room?
It's probably hard to make an addition at this point in training camp, but certainly the numbers as we start the season are one that we.
Did Jerry just say it's hard to make an addition at this point in training camp? Wouldn't this be the best time to make an addition, Jerry? You've got 2 preseason games left, my man. You're going to be making a bunch of decisions when other players around the league get cut. You're going to pick some of them up. Like, this guy's off his rocker. Back to Jerry.
Got a very close eye on, but the other part of that is we've got some extraordinary help on the way for traditionally how you go in short into a position into a season with that position. So we do have, it doesn't mean we won't try, but we do have good help on the way. And that's the encouraging.
You feel like Diggs is that help on the way?
Yes. I think Diggs is hopefully not only, as it turns out, the initial game or games, but certainly for the season. Counting on Diggs to really be a player for us.
Is there a deadline to know whether Micah Parsons plans to play in week 1 or not?
No, not at all. You don't have deadlines when you're playing under a contract.
What's preventing you guys from talking right now?
Again, really nothing.
So why don't you talk?
Again, nothing would be that, and we might or might not talk, and the rest of it gets in what we do every day.
Even though he is under contract, are you guys comfortable if you don't get a deal done that he'll be ready to go for 2 weeks?
Well, again, all you got to go on are contracts, and we are negotiating for a contract. Well, when you do a contract, you would hope that after a negotiation, that's what both the team and the player look to see what our obligations are. And so I have a lot of respect for a contract.
All right, just listening in there, Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones has a lot of respect for a contract. You think he has a lot of respect when he shelled out the money that he did for Dak Prescott, for game managing? Yeah, probably wasn't nice writing that check for the signing bonus. But I'll tell you what, when you've got a star player in the last year of their contract, you damn well like that contract. Absolutely. At least for that year. Because if he does not, this is my take on it. Mike is going to get signed. Mike is going to get what he deserves. Jerry's dragging this out to be the center of attention. If they were going to trade him, you would be hearing trade offers left and right. There's not a team in the NFL that wouldn't want Micah Parsons. There's not a team in the NFL that would not look at what they have and ask, could we get him? Now, the answer for some is going to be no, but Jerry's dragging this out. It's the same formula as Dak Prescott. Y'all remember sitting there week 1 of the NFL season last year? I was watching Fox's pregame show, and before Jay Glazer could even give his who's in and who's out, Dak Prescott extended makes him, I don't know, what was it, like the 3rd highest paid quarterback at the time in the league? It's just all about attention for this dude. Jerry, get him on your schedule.
It isn't on my schedule.
And also, please get the heck out of California.
Los Angeles.
Get out of Los Angeles, dude. Jerry said that there was more value on his field than what was made in the entire gold rush earlier this week.
We're in California. San Francisco 49er gold rush. There was more value than hitting that gold strike in San Francisco on this field today out here.
Come on, Jerry. Got to do better than that, my man. Got to do better than that. Preseason football resumes tomorrow night. So you've got a little bit of a stretch. Let's see. We'll put up the preseason high school football on TV right now. Is everybody at the point with football where you're salivating and it's like, yeah, I'll watch high school? Don't act like some of you haven't been watching the CFL as well. Come on. But football resumes on Friday with the Chiefs, Seahawks, Titans, Falcons, Niner fan and Raider fan. Let's see when y'all play. Raiders take on the 49ers, actually. How about that? That's a Saturday game in Las Vegas, the home of WrestleMania for the 2nd year in a row. How about that? So, yeah, that's your preseason schedule for week 2. Say the same thing that I said before. Please, players, do not get hurt. I hate seeing it. It's a part of preseason. Drives you nuts. You saw a couple of scary injuries last week. The Lions player who was seizing on the field. The rookie DB who put his leg on the opposite way for the Ravens. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. Demonis Sabonis, to catch you up really quick, talked to the media for the first time earlier this week, a couple days ago, and he's very high on what
they
Scott
listen to
Perry's
us.
doing.
You know, they want to hear what we think. You know, I think Scott's done a great job so far, and he's trying to turn things around just like everyone else. No, I think we think alike, and we both want to get this thing running in the right direction, and his values are aligned with mine. Scott's coming in here and trying to change things around, you know, in the right direction. I feel like what the fans want, what the fans believe in, and to come out, play hard, run, you know, be a gritty team, you know, and so far we're making the right moves. Everyone's working hard in summer, and you know, it's gonna all come down to training camp and get together and make it work.
So you know what we're dealing with in our household right now? We had a little swearing issue, which I shared on this show, I don't know, 4-5 months ago. And we just couldn't get past it. The little one, the little man who, I don't know, Horse, we still got to find a way for you to pick games against Liam this year. We do. We'll figure that out. And a lot of people asking, too, about the Yahoo Fantasy League. We are not going to be doing that on Fox Sports for obvious reasons, or at least I can assume obvious reasons. But we will still fire that up on the if you don't like that side. So those asking and wondering if we are going to do the football pool again, we will do that. So back to my story really quick. We were having an issue with the little man swearing, and nothing was working. And so finally, when my wife was doing some at least spring cleaning, right? She's going through her office because she works from home, and she sets out this jar, and it just hit me because my son is meticulous with his money. Meticulous. If you ask him to think about spending a dime, he starts to tear up. And I saw that jar, and I'm like, bingo. We are going to hit him with a swear jar, and we'll apply it to ourselves as well. You say a bad word. Yes, that we were dealing with one of those, and worse than that. Worse than that. But we hit him with the swear jar, and we said, you say a bad word, you say a word that sounds like a bad word, and use it in a context in which a bad word would usually be said, you're going to throw a quarter into that. But at the end of the day, the money comes back to you. You have to earn the money back. You've got to do extra chores to get the money back. So just think of it as like savings, Liam. And it took him about a week to get that wrapped around his head. And he realized, okay, you know, I can earn it back. It's just going to be sitting there until I do. Our new problem that we are dealing with is the little one always having to have the last word. He has to. He has to have the last word. He has to be right. He's got to get one of those, like, as you're walking away, just bombs right at you. So guess what? We're going to put a jar out. I think we're going to put a jar out. And you know what triggered me to share that? It's this, because that's exactly who this dude is. Peter says, agree to disagree. Still admit you're wrong. Okay, fair enough. I admit you are wrong, but I like you anyways. Horse, man. Horse, you got Venmo. Every time you do that on the show, you're going to put a dime or a quarter into the last word jar, the talkback jar. Come on, Horse. Damn, man. Killing me, Horse. Haunted Horse has his own section of drops here on this show. That's what's crazy. I said it the other day. We could literally do a Haunted Horse roulette and do a whole show. Like, okay, just say, like, Ryan, what's drop 7? And I would be terrified to find out what drop 7 is. But I would play it.
Who's next to you? There's a woman next to you.
That's my daughter.
That's my daughter. I mean,
oh, just send me.
Oh, we're not doing that one. See, that's what I'm saying. I've got to be able to monitor these a little bit.
How big is your man?
There you go. So, Haunted Horse, you don't have the last word. I have the last word. Oh my goodness. Who's that lady next to you? That's my daughter. Liam's the best. He reminds me of me. Rhino, I thought you were going to say the Dyson guy was back. No, Dyson guy has not been back. Thank goodness. That dude was creepy. I don't want to get too far off the beaten path. I saw a couple of questions about the Kings. Wanted to get to those. This is what I wanted to get to from Andre. My take on it, Andre, is Neek. Jerry and I did our bold predictions. He said that Doug Christie was going to have a very successful year. He's really high on what Doug's doing. And I guess for the type of team this is, I'm okay with it. I would have liked it more if you would have had that defensive contingent, which really meant the Kings had to sign Jake LaRavia. They didn't. So now by default, although Scott Perry wants it to be a defensive team, ultimately, this has to be, by its composition right now, an offensive team. Roll the ball out and score more points. You have a couple of defensive guys, Keegan Murray, Keon. But back to Neek, I think Neek is, and understand what I say here. Understand the difference. I am not saying Neek is the next Tyrese Halliburton. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, much like Tyrese Halliburton pushed his way into getting 20 minutes a night, like no matter what, you got to play that guy 20, 25 minutes a night. I think Neek's going to find the same way to do that with this team. I really do. I don't know about Max, though. I think Max is going to be more hit and miss. I think Max is going to look really good on some nights, and he's going to get pushed around, quite frankly, on others, depending on matchups. Jerry Reynolds is super high on Isaac Jones, and I understand why. At the start of the summer, before Summer League started, I said, Jerry, do the Kings have to get 7 to 10 minutes from Isaac Jones a night to have somewhat of a chance at having a successful season? And even before Isaac had the summer he had, he said, yeah, absolutely. I do think it's interesting, too, that Domantas Sabonis, and Jerry agreed with me, it looked like he'd leaned out a little bit. And with him leaner, does that mean you're trying to maybe look at a way to get him at the four? I asked Jerry if you could have Domas, if there was one thing, and it's guaranteed Domas would have it in his game coming into this season, what would it be? What would that one new thing be? And he said a 12-foot jump shot, and not hesitating at that 12-foot jump shot. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that mix with Isaac Jones. I really am, because they're trying to get him this summer. The push was to get him to play like a 4. That's why you saw him take some threes, and I'm glad he took them, even if he airballed. I'm glad he didn't hesitate to take them, because in the championship game, he hit a massive 3 that kept the Kings in it right up until the end. But is Isaac going to be can Isaac and Domas play next to each other? The Kings have to figure that out, because I don't think Eubanks, you're looking at Eubanks, Isaac, Max, and Domas. That's realistically the guys that are going to be playing the 5 with the way the roster is right now. Can Neek... I don't think Neek... I don't know that Neek... That's where the question marks are for me, defensively. Once we get to the start of the regular season, our team's going to pick on him if he's playing the 3 because of his size. I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like, because if he can play a little bit bigger, that's going to really help the Kings on the back end. A lot of talk about Keegan Murray and by Scott Perry, trying to get him to the 3. And I completely agree with that. This has to be the year that the Kings figure out, or at least give Keegan the opportunity. If the Kings have, and I'll ask this to Jerry. In fact, I think Jerry and I may have hit this last week or the week before that. Or maybe it was just when we were talking on the phone. If the Kings are having a really successful year, I think you're going to have a couple of the higher paid players, at least one of the higher paid players, not particularly thrilled with their role and or playing time. I just do. Schroeder's going to start at the point, but is he going to play the majority of the minutes at the point? Doug Christie goes with the hot hand all the time. What if Keon Ellis improved his handle well enough this summer to play at the 1. That automatically is going to help you be defensively better. Keegan and Keon on the floor together is a must at times. That's your best defensive duo right now on this team. Neek up in the air, we'll see. I mean, you could throw Devin Carter into that, but I just, between Devin, Keon, I don't see how they're going to be on the floor at the same time with the backload of guards. So I think somebody is going to be bent. Is it going to be Levine? Is it going to be Schroeder? And I'm not saying publicly bent. They're not going to cause, a distraction, or at least I would hope they would not cause a distraction. I just think Neek is going to play himself into that role where Doug is forced to play him 20 minutes a game. I really do. My bold prediction was Neek will be either first or second team all rookie this year. That's my bold prediction for the Kings season. So getting back to the schedule, I teased about 15 minutes ago why I really like that difficult road trip to start the season. It's only a 4-game road trip. It's OKC, Chicago, Milwaukee, Denver. Sign me up right now for 1-4 on that road trip. If you can guarantee me a win against Chicago, I would take 1-4. I can't say that would be 1-4 is not a good road trip. It's below 500, but the Kings can't go 0-4 on that one. The theme of this schedule, the theme of this season is the Kings have to win the games that they're supposed to win. Period. Have to. But I think the early road trip is good because it galvanizes the team a little bit. When you're on the road, you're in a little bit more of a bubble. And when you're looking to lean on rookies, you're looking to find that chemistry, especially with a Doug Christie coaching staff. I think that's a good thing. They could catch a lot of confidence on that road trip. They really could. And I said at the top of the show, I think you have a good opportunity to roll into that road trip 3-0. So if the Kings are at worst 2-1 and rolling into that road trip, that could be a very, very good opportunity for those guys to really bond. Because that's what it is. It's us against the world when you're on the road. You're doing the same things. You're eating at the same places. You're playing video games. You don't have the distractions that you do here at home. And I don't want to call family distractions, the obligations that you do at home. So if you're just tuning in, I think you've got to have a better start than last year. One question that was asked, what is the murderer's row of the schedule? It's 12 of the first 15 games against playoff teams from last year. So your murderer row stretch begins game 3. It really does. Lakers, OKC, Chicago, Milwaukee, Denver, Golden State, Minnesota, Denver, Atlanta, Minnesota, San Antonio, OKC, Memphis, Denver, and then Minnesota again. That is, if the Kings are 500 through that stretch, they are ahead of schedule. They are playing better than expected if you come out 500 from that stretch, from 10-22 to 11-24. Now, conversely, this is a heck of an opportunity for the Kings to catch some momentum late in the season. This stretch at home last year, that was murderer's row. I mentioned earlier in the show, you played OKC and Boston in back-to-back nights at home. You've got Phoenix, New Orleans, Chicago, Indiana, Charlotte, all winnable. The Kings have to take care of business. I would say New Orleans is the biggest wild card there. Then you're at the Clippers, and then it's Utah, San Antonio, Philadelphia, and Brooklyn. You only have, and I understand, and if we're going to go by the true records, you only have 2 playoff teams from last year in that stretch. And then you hit the road, and you've got a winnable game at Charlotte. But I was not thrilled. I will say this. This is the third time the Kings have had a late road trip to the East. At Charlotte, at Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Toronto. At least this year, the travel makes a little bit more sense than it did last year when they sent them from Atlanta to Toronto back to Orlando. That was a weird one. And then coming home, you've got Toronto, New Orleans, the Clippers. You've got 2 games with Golden State, 1 home, 1 away, and then you end the season with Portland at Portland. So again, that first month of the season, if the Kings can just stay 500, it's a lot. 500 first month of the season, 10-22 to 11-24. 500 basketball is what you're looking for. Thrilled. I would take 500 right now and run with it. We've also been talking about the national TV schedule. I'm going to get to your comments here in a few minutes. Also, Law Murray, somebody that I really like and respect from The Athletic, does the power rankings for The Athletic, also is the beat writer for the Clippers, said yesterday he was watching Devin Carter, Daquan Plowden, Nate Clifford, Isaac Jones, and Max at UCLA. Said those dudes didn't lose for like an hour straight of runs. Take that for what it is. You don't know what the competition was, but always good to hear something like that, and always better to see that nobody was hurt. NBA group stages, there they are for the NBA Cup, the gimmick, whatever you want to call it. The Kings play the Thunder 3 times in the first month of the season. That's a big ask. And then they've got them in their same grouping for the NBA Cup. The important dates of the season, there they are for you. Here's the national TV games. Now, this is going to include Peacock and Amazon. Tell me if this is just bizarre to anybody else. Atlanta has 13. Boston has 25. Brooklyn has 2. Charlotte has 3. Chicago 3. Cleveland 24. Dallas 23. Denver 26. Detroit 16. Golden State 34. Houston 28. Indiana 9. How do you get to that same formula with Indiana and Boston? You're only giving Indiana 9 games because Hallie isn't playing, but Tatum's out for Boston, and there's been a lot of change around there as well. No more Drew Holiday. They lost some depth, some important depth. So look at that disparity. Excuse me. My mouth is dry. The Clippers, 21. The Lakers, 34. Memphis, 10. That's surprising to me. I would have thought Memphis would have more than that. Miami, 5. Milwaukee, 18. Minnesota, 28. New Orleans, 2. New York, 34. Oklahoma City, 34. Orlando, 14. That's where they made the mistake. That's a big mistake. Philadelphia, 14. Phoenix, 9. Portland, 8. Sac, 9. San Antonio, 22. Toronto, 2. Utah, 2. And Washington, 2. 7 of the 9 games for the Kings on national TV are going to be against Western Conference opponents. Only one Eastern Conference opponent, which is on Peacock at Indiana, and the other that is on Prime is a Western Conference opponent. So 8 of the 9, but the Kings get 7 games between NBC and ESPN. 93% of you on my poll went under when I put the over-under at 4.5. So really interesting stuff there. Very interesting. Let's get to the chat. Let's see what y'all are talking about. If you want to call in, this is your last chance. Get up in here. If you want to talk about the Kings schedule, anything that I have hit on, don't forget Napes back tonight, 7 o'clock. He'll be taking you home here on If You Don't Like That. He's been having some fun shows as of late. Join him. He'll open up the phone lines for you. You can take the conversation any way you want to go with him. And obviously, don't forget, Grant is back here in SAC. Fox Sports Sacramento, KSAC 104.7 FM, 890 AM. Do us a favor. Grant debuts, I should say, September 2nd, 3 o'clock, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 o'clock, beginning September 2nd. When you have a chance, go download the Fox Sports Sacramento app. It's available, as you can see right there, for free in the Apple Store. You can also get it for you odd ones out there that are Android. I just can't do Android. I guess I'm like the hardcore Mac between the Mac and PC commercials. I would have been the Mac guy. But you can get it in both spots. Download it. Make sure that you go give them a follow as well on the X. We can't wait for September 2nd. I was at the studio yesterday. I can tell you, there is some big things coming for Grant's return, September 2nd. He will be back in Sacramento for that show. He'll be back in Sac for a couple of weeks. So make sure you tune in. Would love to have you. Download the app again. Fox Sports Sacramento, KSAC 104.7, 890 AM, September 2nd, 3 to 6 p.m. All right. Let's get to some of your chats. Let's get to some of your thoughts. Throw the schedule back up for you right there. In the coming days, I will look at opposing team schedules. I don't put a lot on strength of schedule. Everybody in the West has it's brutal, especially if you're at the bottom tier of the West. That's why the Kings are getting 9 games. It's exactly why. That's why 8 of 9 are against a Western Conference opponent. Paul, wondering if we're going to use Keon over or even Monk, just like last season. The Monk stuff is funny because things change. We know that we've said on this channel that Scott Perry met with Malik Monk before free agency and told him that he was not going to be traded. But then as the Kuminga stuff heated up and Golden State didn't like the initial offer, his name got thrown in. So who knows? I'm sure Scott probably stayed in touch with him about that. I think Monk's role really doesn't change much. I think he's back to that 6th man, bringing you a spark off the bench. Keon, it's kind of up in the air. It's really going to depend on his ball handling. Scott Perry has said he wants guys that can go both ways. And I respect that. That's what you ultimately want. But at the end of the day, with the roster as it is, unless something changes, and it very well could, it was late August when we got the Julius Randle and Karl Anthony Towns trade. Maybe something does change. This is an offensive team. It just is. But Keon is too important to the team's defense, even if you're on offensive team, you got to be able to guard the stars. And Keon is one of those guys that can switch on to multiple positions. He is one of the more he's super slippy. You just can't get a hold of him. You can't screen him. It's really, really difficult. And I think also his ability to recover and switch with Keegan at times, that's all set in stone. So he'll get some minutes, Paul. It's more of, can he handle the ball? If he can handle the ball, you could be looking at a Keon Monk backcourt. I think your first 3 subs off the bench this season are going to be, I think it will probably be, man, that's tough. I know the 3. I just don't know the order. I think it's going to be Monk, Keon, and Neek. I think those are your first 3 off of the bench. The order, though, that's up in the air. Because I could make an argument for Keon or Monk, and based off of Doug Christie's substitution patterns last year, it depends. It depends. Dennis wants Kuminga and Westbrook. I don't know why, my man. The Westbrook part, I don't get. Dennis, how many wins is Westbrook going to be good for if you bring him in? And Dennis, what are you going to do on the back end of the roster with the forwards and the centers if you add just another guard? Somebody asked earlier in the show, and we've been saying it on the channel for at least a week now. I know I've been almost 2 weeks, that unless there's a subsequent move, they're not going to bring Westbrook on. They can't bring Westbrook on. There would have to be a move prior to that included a guard. I just don't see it. How many back-to-back? We counted them out. You have 1, 2. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 back-to-backs, I believe. Don't hold me to that. But you also have 7 of those 9 back-to-backs turn into 3 games in 4 nights. So the Kings this year have less back-to-backs than last year, but they have more, I believe, if my memory serves me right. They have more stretches where they play 3 games in 4 nights. The squares in red are either back-to-backs or 3 games in 4 nights. So there you go. How about that? I was able to get this done before the show. How about that? Got into some good stuff already on the schedule. Grant probably won't dig into it as much as I did. How confident are the Kings in Devin? I don't think there's a ton of confidence there right now. I don't. Or at least not in the role that they need him to play. The other scenario for backup point guard will be Monk playing it. I think you're going to see Monk more off the ball. If you're going to have Monk and Keon, Monk will have the pick and roll with Sabonis. So he'll have the ball at times. Outside of the pick and roll, I think Monk's better off the ball as that swing towards the end of the shot clock. But we'll see. Doug Christie's standing by. I want to teach them how to play instead of teaching them a play. $14 back-to-backs. That was last season, Dennis. That was last season, brother. He's saying, well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe my thing's wrong. We'll see. What I do know is this homestand that's reasonable right here, you don't have any back-to-backs. Yes, he is an Android user. I can't get him. I can't get him. Yeah, I asked Rock the same. They had Phoenix in there. I do not. There's no way that there's 14 back to backs. I went through this with a fine toothed comb. Let's see. No. No. Oh, there's one that I missed. Okay. I see that. Okay, maybe there is. I missed a couple. Fair enough. Or at least I recognize that I missed one. That's okay. I can still confidently say everything in red is either 3 games in 4 nights or a back-to-back. Just means I'm missing a little bit of red. I'm gonna fact check that after this show. We're gonna take a second look at that. But again, Murderers Row. We laid it out. It is from 10:26 to 11:24. 500 through that stretch is going to put the Kings in a that 500 doesn't put them in playoff contention, but 500 in that stretch puts them ahead of schedule, ahead of some fans' expectations this year. But you have to really, really like this stretch at home. That is something the Kings did not have. They had a stretch at home at the same time of year, but it was Murderers Row. So you got to like that. Russell Westbrook's regular season, I don't care about his numbers, dude. The cog here is DeRozan. It depends on the style of play. I stand by what I said. I really do. That one of the guys, one of the higher paid veterans, or I'll put it this way. I think either Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, or DeMar DeRozan will not, I hope, will handle it as professionals. But if things go right, I think one of them is not going to be playing as much as they want to. That's just what I think. The easy one to look at is Dennis Schroeder because you're paying him $17.4 million. You'd hope that it's not Zach LaVine for a couple of reasons. The first is you want him to play well because you want the Kings to play well and win games. You want him to be durable like he was last year. You know, that's kind of brought a little bit more value to his contract. He was able to play pretty much an entire season last year. But you want him to become even more of an asset. So if a team at the deadline feels like they can make that push and they're that player away, remember, Orlando went out and shelled out 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane because it's their time. And there was that exact guy they wanted. They didn't care about the cost. That's the guy we need. If for whatever reason a team gets in that position and Zach LaVine's playing well, he makes an all-star team. He's played 85% of the games. Who knows? And I'm not saying that Scott Perry is looking to get off of him, but if the Kings were able to get off that contract sooner rather than later, it accelerates, in my opinion, the timeline for this team to get out of purgatory, or as we've described it, they're in detention. You got on both sides of the blacktop, you have 2 groups. The side on the left are the contenders that are all in. They don't care about the aprons. They are going for a championship this year. This is the year. You got the teams on the right side of the playground that are the ones that are offloading to get back under the aprons. They're taking a year off because their stars are going to be out. And then you've got the Kings and another handful of teams that aren't contenders, that could be better than bad. and it keeps you between playing for the play-in, 10 seed. Like, it accelerates that process to me. It gets you closer to being back on the playground and on the right side of the playground. So, a roster would be so much. Andre says a roster would be so much better constructed. Okay, so he was saying kind of what I'm saying. What's up, Sack Girl? I'm thrilled to explore how the combined on-court skills and chemistry of DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Domas could influence Kings' offensive and defensive performance. Well, Sack Girl, we saw it last year predominantly. Here's what I would say about it, Sack Girl. Here's your reason to be thrilled about it and to be optimistic about it. You've got a true point guard on the team. You didn't have that last year. Maybe that is what changes or stirs up the chemistry that makes it a lot better than we saw last year between the three of them. And you got to think Keegan Murray has to be involved in that formula as well. Good job. Thanks for being here, Sack Girl. Paul, we have LaVine and DeRozan at the same spot. Given we can't trade LaVine easily, I feel we need to do something with DeRozan. The Kings wanted to trade DeRozan. I think that was at the start of the offseason. If you went down the whiteboard, I thought that was probably the most realistic guy. What hurts you, though? Here's what hurts you with trading DeRozan. It was having Halliburton go down. It was having Tatum go down. That's what hurt him being traded. There's really no other place you could point, because the teams you were looking at that didn't get over the hump but still thought they were there and they're willing to stay where they're at, tax-wise and then also apron-wise, those would have been the teams that you'd be looking to move DeRozan to. I thought the Clippers also was a realistic option. But look, I like DeMar. DeMar is such a great guy. He just really is. And he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He plays the game in a respectful way that honors the game. I love everything about him. Speaking up about mental health and his ongoing battle, how that has helped other athletes step forward. DeMar's the man. We got to remember, DeMar was pitched a much different idea of where this team would be when the Kings approached him. There was a whole different pitch going on. He was the piece that was going to take the Kings over the top. Doesn't mean over the top to a championship, but gets them back into the playoffs. And, you know what DeMar DeRozan is. Anybody that gets upset at what it was, that's who DeMar DeRozan is. And the only big thing that I can get on DeMar about, the only thing is the toe on the line. Like, at some point, I thought he was trolling us. He would have his toe on the line. It seemed like every game at some point. I'm thinking like, hey, trainer, go slip him a size 13 instead of a 13 and a half. See if you can tell the difference. I can't say anything. He played a ton of games. He played way more minutes than we expected him to play. I mean, I was good with it, man. That's what DeRozan is.
I'm all gas, no brakes down.
Except he's kind of like more breaks, but efficient. Yeah, anyways. I'd rather have Zach Ryder than Zach Levine. I will say this. One of Zach Ryder is really who started like the internet wrestling shows. Like his whole thing that he did, the Z Long, or was it Z True Long Island stories, the stuff he was doing, like where he's got one leg over a chain link fence and the other on the opposite side. They're like, Zach, what are you doing? I'm trying to get over, bro. I'm trying to get over. His stuff was so good. It was so good that he ended up getting a push in WWE and winning a championship. Do you think San Antonio found out that Fox is not a true point guard? I would hope so. He's making more than Luka Doncic. I did not have that on my bingo card. I didn't. I don't think a lot of people. I know Jerry didn't have that on his bingo card. That was insane. I was on the wrong side of that. I was on the wrong side. You know, this is going to be, and I don't want to make this about De'Aaron Fox. I wish him nothing but success, except for when they played the Kings. He's going to be remembered. People, in many ways, this is a reintroduction to the NBA for De'Aaron Fox. How many national TV games did we say San Antonio has? They're up there. They are getting 22. It's going to be a reintroduction. And this is what he's going to be remembered by. He's not going to be remembered by his being an alternate to the All-Star game, an injury replacement in Sacramento, or anything he did here. He's going to be remembered by what he does with Wemby. And quite frankly, the bar is higher now because of what he's being paid. Good for him. Get your money. Get paid. But no, the Spurs, we put his contract up there, and you see how the pay breaks down. That third or the fourth year of the contract, which is fully guaranteed, it's 63, off the top of my head, I believe it was 63.4 million. And the way that I read that is San Antonio is expecting to have a championship by that year, which I don't think is far-fetched. Now, does Fox's contract prohibit you from being in the Wemby sweepstakes? Or excuse me, the Giannis sweepstakes? If Giannis decides, don't even start me on Giannis. He should be in the airing of grievances every single week. But can they still afford to go get a Giannis? I don't know. Does anybody want to take on De'Aaron's contract? It was one of the more shocking things that I have seen, especially with the young talent that they have at that position. Yeah, they got a free tryout. But what you can do, now you can do this. You can directly tie Nate Clifford to the Fox deal. You can directly tie that player to that deal. So we'll see. Man, we have a messy situation in that card. Just figuring that out, huh? Dennis, I am like so trying with you right now, man. I'm really trying with you. Like you're trying to out-host the host. That's what you're doing right now. That's what you're always doing. Dennis, you weren't here earlier. Let me remind you that, Law Murray, the guy covers the Clippers for The Athletic, really good beat writer, does the power rankings a lot of times for The Athletic, who follows me and I follow him on X, who was going to come on this show last year, but then he got tied up because there was a big thing on Kawhi so he couldn't come on. Yeah, that La Murray. I retweeted that within hours. I saw that within hours. And I told everybody at the top of the show, me and my friends have a rule that we do not distribute direct messages, amongst others. We don't do it. There's like a bro code of silence. It's a no-no. But my man, you hammer me over the head with direct messages. You don't play by the same rules that we play by. So I put you up. This was the direct messages from Dennis. This was at 9:22 p.m. Like 18 hours after I had already retweeted that tweet. Dennis, you're out. You're trying to out-host the host. Dennis, do you want to come sit in this chair and do this show one day? Come on, Dennis. I appreciate the passion, man. Covered all of that. 12 of the first 15 games are against playoff teams from last year. Murderers Row from 11. Excuse me. From 10:26 to 11:24. No chance. There is no chance. You know what? Okay. I'll tell you what. I will make you this deal. I got to think about this for a second. I really got to think about this for a second because I know you all so well. Seeing as the King's Court, the live version, the daily version, is going to be going away, not going away permanently, the live show. We're still going to have podcasts every single day that you can download on Apple and Spotify. We'll do a live show at least once a week. I've made that promise. In addition to what we're doing with the Kings and Grant show on Fox Sports Radio, KSAC 104.7, 890 AM. Since we're winding down the live show, I will put a poll out. If you guys vote for it, I will respect it, and I will let Dennis co-host
from now, gotta win,
a show.
I'm not going to tolerate anything other than winning. I know you top reporters, I'm going to throw this, I'm going to throw that, I'm going to throw
I can't believe that came out of my mouth. I will let Dennis co-host a show. Partially because this show has an 8-second delay, which means I could dump something that Dennis might say that he shouldn't say. Y'all vote. I'll put the poll out. We'll talk about it some more. But co-host Dennis Mondays. Yeah. All right, I'll put the poll out. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Dennis right now is salivating. He is salivating right now. Dennis, it's going to be a referendum on you, man. If the people are like overwhelmingly 90, 95%, then you know, man. But if that's not so good and it's like 15%, man, don't blame me. Don't get mad at me. All right, Dennis? You can't get mad at me for that. If the people put you in the permanent penalty box and they're like, no,
Not talking about this.
we're not doing this.
No.
We're not doing this. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Man, I love you all. Y'all are the absolute best. Fun show today. A lot of Kings content. do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. Would really appreciate it. Grant back tonight, 7 o'clock. Join him. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe, because even though Grant is back and humming on the radio at Fox Sports Sacramento beginning September 2nd, everything here when it comes to game day coverage is exactly the same. We will be doing the post-game shows for every game that we possibly can when we are not on the air. So there are going to be games where we're on the air during the Kings games, but most of the Kings games, you will have enhanced post-game coverage here on the channel. Might have a third person joining us for post games. You can try to figure out who that might be, but this channel is going to explode, and it's all because of you guys. So thank you to all of you that have been here from day one. Thank you if it's your first time here today. But yeah, don't forget, Grant back September 2nd. Fox Sports Sacramento, 104.7 FM, 890 AM. Make sure that you download the Fox Sports app as well, specific to the station. Go to the Apple Store, go to Google Play. There it is, Fox Sports Sacramento. Download the KSAC app. We really appreciate it. Grant, 7 o'clock tonight to talk Kings schedule. Have a great rest of your day. We're back tomorrow to wrap up the week. We will have the wrestling segment at the end of tomorrow's show with Adam. Make it a great night. Go Kings. Light the beam. Courts dismissed.
Order in the court.